Paul, thanks for your time. We'll start with the injury situation. How's David Long King doing?
He's got a scan today. First sort of impressions was perhaps not too bad, but I think it's an injury that he has had previously and it kept him out for some time, so there's obviously a concern on that side. But ultimately we'll have to wait for the scan results, which we should get later today, but clearly a doubt for the weekend.
Any other knocks from Tuesday night?
No, I don't think so. Or nothing major, certainly. No concerns on that front. So that's good news. Always when you come out of a game, we've kind of feel like we've had enough injuries for the season. So yeah, fingers crossed.
You mentioned Joel Grant and Sean Scannell last week. Are they still on course to return to training next week?
Scans, I don't know if it's definitely next week, but he's still been running round and continues to be good. Joel's, I think, felt something today, so again, haven't got an actual definitive on that, but there was certainly something that has stopped him doing some more work. Only did a little bit of the session that was planned for him.
Just reflecting on Tuesday night, obviously all the fans are now seeing the goal, we'll call it. It doesn't get any better on
no,
any other games,
it's a lot. It's probably a lot worse. I said at the time I didn't think there was much in it. I didn't really want to make anything major of the decision. However, watching it back, I think the player, the defender, gets slightly in the wrong position. His body's not sort of protecting the line of the ball. It's on the outside of it slightly, and I think John, very, very slightly leans into him, but nothing where it's not a clear shoulder barge or anything like that. And it's almost as though you can't make contact, otherwise it's a foul. And as I said on the night, and I think John Tonda said in commentary, like the referee just couldn't wait to blow his whistle. So I'm not going to stand here and say we'd have won that game 1-0. It might have changed their approach, the dynamic of the game. But it would certainly have been nice for us to have gone 1-0 up. And yeah, a major decision that, over the course of the season, and it sometimes doesn't feel like that, but you hope that you get your fair share of big decisions, but that's certainly one that went against us.
Obviously, too early at this point to make any kind of judgments on your side, but getting a point aside, as you pointed out on Tuesday, you're one of the favourites for the title. That must give you a big boost going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had one sort of really good chance first half where the lad would certainly expect to do better. A few sort of balls in the box and good defending, but overall I thought we limited them to very little. First half gave up some possession, but looking at the stats, it was, I think in general you look at a pretty even game. I felt we did get stronger, which may be a little surprising on my part, but kind of their games have gone a little bit. They start well and then have, not struggled, but certainly started the game stronger, and we came into it. I think they had a couple of attacks, but certainly we had second half. On another night, you might have nicked it, but before the game, as I said, I would have certainly took a point, but that wasn't in my mind. The change of system wasn't about going to try and take a point. It was working with what we've got and what I felt gave us the best chance to win, albeit, as I said, we need to be better at that if we did play that way.
I think that's 2 games now where you haven't faced a shot on target, so you've got that good base obviously going forward.
Yeah, and as much as I'd love that to continue, I think the chances of that carrying on are very, very slim. But it's a positive. I've said many times before that it's not the perhaps the thing that fans are going to love hearing, but a strong defence, and by defence I mean the team, as in being strong defensively, being organised, gives you a great chance of getting wins and accumulating points and overall achieving success, because there's very few teams compete right at the top end if they've got a leaky defence. There's the odd exception, but not many, so that's pleasing. Obviously going the other way, we won the first game. I thought we did create enough chances realistically, missed a couple, final ball, things like that weren't quite right. The other night certainly didn't create as much as I would like, but at the same time, like I said, it was they didn't, and it was a pretty sort of cagey affair where a large parts probably the teams nullified each other. Again, maybe the sort of systems matching up played some part of that. But yeah, obviously we want to create chances, we want to score goals.
You've got Barnet this weekend. Obviously, it's not been the best start to the season for them. What have you made of them so far?
Yeah, the first game it looked, the Notts County played extremely well. That's what I would say. One thing. Secondly, Barnet looked a little bit almost confused whether it was a system that they were up against or the play. It kind of just looked a bit much. But the 2 games since then, they got a point at Solihull, who will be expected to be up there certainly. And although they lost to Dagenham, certainly looked a lot more solid and organised, and looked like they perhaps fitting into some kind of system themselves. So we would expect a tough test, as you always will, and what that, I guess, their start will bring for them in terms of motivation will be trying to get that first win of the season, and we obviously want that to go on for a little bit longer, and we want to try and build on 2 positive results if we can to make Blundell Park a bit of a fortress if possible, and certainly build on his first home game where we spoke about it being almost an occasion and the atmosphere, and credit to the fans. Put in my notes today, the first game was special, and then to take 1,200 to Stockport on a Tuesday evening, we know that they're there, and the players will need them. At various points in games, various times of the season, they will need them to energise them, make them run that little bit harder, hang on in there in games, whatever it is, spur them on to score even more goals. But it's been a fantastic effort, and hopefully we can get the same again on Saturday.